Hi, y'all. My name's Elizabeth, and I've put off recording this video for a very, very long time. At the risk of sounding just completely Looney Tunes. Um, but here we go. In when was that? April of 2021, I was contacted by an account claiming to be Chris Young on TikTok. And up to that point, I had been off of social media. I had deleted my accounts at least 6 months prior. I had no clue what was going on. And it didn't feel right. It didn't feel right at all. And a few weeks later, I went to the Miami field office of a certain three-letter agency, reporting to them email accounts, phone numbers that I was being contacted by, and telling them, I'm afraid for my children. I'm afraid for my children. This three-letter agency's response was, just block them. We're not going to do anything. And just the very act of going to that agency, within 2 hours of leaving that field office, my identification was stolen. Everything, driver's license, social security cards, mine and my children, debit cards, credit cards, everything gone. At this point, I'm like, what's going on? The number of accounts contacting me blew through the roof. Now, of course, in my mind, they're not going to help me. So maybe I can figure out what's going on. So the longer I began to communicate with these individuals, the love bombing. I'm a broken woman at the time. I had just left an abusive husband. Grabbed up me and my children and drove halfway across the country. At times I still wonder, has this been just a horrible nightmare? Am I in purgatory? Is this hell? What's going on? After a few months of communicating, I found myself falling for whatever this was, and it doesn't even make sense now. I tried reaching out to family. I tried talking to them. There was gaslighting and victim blaming and, oh, well, it's just scammers from Nigeria. Oh, that makes me so mad. How dare you be so racist, people? Because there's scamming going on, it's got to be somebody from Africa. No. No, sorry. No. Not after everything that I've put together. This has been going on now. Doing the math, this is the end of October of 2024. April of 2025 will mark 4 years of my life. And I'm telling you, my life is no resemblance of anything it was. I have been completely drained of everything. Every account I have has been hacked. My entire identification included, has been stolen more than once. People break into my house, take things, I'm still followed to this day. Now, how does a scammer from Nigeria send you a photograph of the very store you just walked out of from the parking lot? Riddle me this. Now, I'm sure I'm going to get all kinds of hate for this, and I really don't care. Because, regardless of the official narrative, regardless of what everybody might say, this experience was very real. And my life and the lives of so many women like myself have been completely devastated. Now, I want to ask a question. How would you feel if somebody was pretending to be your mom and you're kind of not sure if it's your mom? It kind of seems like it's your mom, but there's, grammar mistakes and typos. I don't know about anybody else, but I got fat thumbs. I'll type something wrong. How would you feel if somebody was pretending to be your mom? And they were pretending to be your mom because they were around your mom and your mom was in on it. And you end up sending your mom money. But you got scammed. Are you stupid? No. Is it outside the realm of possibility for people of a higher social status to get bored with their lives and decide that, let's play a real world video game? A type of fantasy football, if you will. Like I said, I've held off recording this video for a long time at the risk of sounding just completely bonkers. But I know I'm not alone. I know that my life isn't the only life that's been devastated by this. And there's nobody to turn to. Nobody cares. I reached out to law enforcement. I reached out to friends and even ex-boyfriends that had standing in the local county detective level, and I'm dismissed, told that I'm crazy, or I'm sorry, I'm just a small county detective. We don't have the resources for that. The same kind of story you get when you want to sue somebody and then they call you back and say that's a conflict of interest. Yes. This is a racket, and it's not scammers from Nigeria. And the few that are inscripted and listed by folks right here in the U.S. Did I necessarily deserve everything that happened? Well, I hadn't lived a perfect life. But I would never do something like this to somebody. I wouldn't wish this on my worst enemy. Mess you up in your head. I mean, literally, you end up grieving these things like an actual breakup. The emotions are real. It's real. And it's really happening. And the story painted on the news is that, oh, well, this older lady or that older lady, this person got scammed or that person got scammed out of their bank account. I mean, why were we doing these things? Because yeah, we were lonely, broken, and here's a handsome man saying all the right things. I don't know if folks realize, but this happens real world also. When you're a targeted individual, a truly targeted individual, it's Operation discredit you, Operation dismiss you, Operation gaslight you, Operation destroy your life and make you look crazy in the process. You know, it's just now that I feel like I can even begin talking about this. And there's so much more to it than this relatively short video that I'm recording. I'll be honest with you, I'm nervous. I'm nervous because I know what this means. I'm speaking out. And if there was ever a reason to silence me, it's now. Because these individuals are very much aware of who I am. I've had to start over online numerous times, and they always find me. How do they do that? When I block the official accounts that that these imposters go fishing off of. They shouldn't still be creeping up in my inbox when I've hit the block button. The only thing that makes sense in this whole scenario is that somebody's lying. And it's more than likely that official narrative that's being spun. In fact, anytime I'm scrolling through TikTok or I come across accounts on Instagram, when I was on Instagram, I no longer have access to my Instagram. And I see these videos that say, oh, don't message back these accounts, they're not me. I would never ask you to send me money. That they're affiliates. They're on the payroll. And I'm willing to bet dollars to donuts that if you're anything like me, you're on a dark web list somewhere with a substantial dollar amount next to your name. And people are getting paid for what they do. Now, is it always the individuals themselves? No. Sometimes it's chatbots. Sometimes it's AI itself, like itself. Sometimes it is them. And for you ladies, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That intuition. We're not that wrong. I know when I'm talking to my children and when I'm talking to somebody else who has their phone. The women who have them. I really don't care at this point. My children were taken away from me 3 years ago because I had lost my mind. Nobody wanted to help me. That's why I know it was on purpose. They enlisted family members, former friends, ex-lovers, anybody who seemed to have any sort of vendetta or something to lose. Not everybody who's participated was paid. Some were strong-armed into it. They were given an offer they couldn't refuse. So, I've forgiven them, but I have to speak out. I have to say these things. I have to do this. Because I'm convinced if I don't, I'm just going to explode and just shoot in 1,000 different directions all at the same time. Sorry, my cat Angel's trying to get up on the computer while I'm doing this. She just wants her 15 minutes of fame, I guess. If for no other reason, hit the like button for Angel. Because she's pretty. Pretty little Siamese. Anyway. I don't know what's going to come of this if not catharsis. It's a healing process. Picking up the pieces. Not being able to prove who you are. And knowing and understanding that it ties into a bigger picture. You know, is it really outside the realm of possibility to think that a relatively young woman such as myself, who is not, I'm not ugly, not gorgeous either, but I clean up well. Was it really so outside the realm of possibility to think that a celebrity could possibly have fallen in love with me? There wouldn't have been some huge age gap. But regardless, I realized that the only person who was in love was me. And it wasn't a celebrity fascination. I'll be the first one to tell you. It wasn't until those scam accounts, or whatever you want to call them, started contacting me that I didn't even really know what the dude looked like. I had no idea how old he was. I just knew the name so I could search the songs. That's it. Just like any other artist. It's never really a fangirl. I mean, unless you count Backstreet Boys and NSYNC when I was a teenager. Now I'm revealing my age. Anyway, I'll be 40 this year. I'm rambling, and I know that. But I guess the point I'm trying to make here is this. Ladies, gentlemen, anyone who has fallen prey, fallen victim to this, you're not alone. There seems to be no justice for us. How do you sweep something under the rug? You do a whole bunch of really messed up stuff to the population, and then you tell them it's out of your hands, when I know that these agencies have the technology to smell a mouse fart from 1,500 yards. And to be able to tell you what that mouse had for dinner. We know that everything online is traceable. So, why are these things allowed to happen? why not just shut them down? Because it's on purpose. At the risk of sounding like a complete and total conspiracy theorist, I've gone over everything so many sleepless nights of chewing on everything and putting the pieces together, and there was always a script, but the script seemed to change. And it was like a copy and paste thing. But it would have to be to 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 reach out and target so many women at once. There was one. He was different. There were always thousands. I mean, still now to this day, I'll get on X or TikTok, and there they are, following me. They found me again on my third account. They've gone to great lengths to try to relieve me of as much evidence as possible and to discredit me and make me look crazy. I'm not crazy. I've been through a traumatic experience. Just like so many other people have. I'm not special. But I know I will lose my mind if I don't come out here and do this. Thank you for anyone who has sat through the 22 minutes of me rambling on about something that the whole world tells me I'm stupid for allowing. I received photographs of very real looking identification, driver's licenses, social security cards. At a glance, they look real. But the real part of it is that very real people have been hurt, and they laugh about it. It's funny. It's become a joke. And what's funny is when you share a birthday with the girlfriend of the person who is doing this to you, kind of makes you wonder if it's not personal. I mean, did the economy become that bad? Or I guess I'm still just trying to understand why. Why me? Who did I hurt? Who did I hurt? And if somebody, one of my stalkers, if you know why, pipe up, please. Tell me, please. So at least then I can be like, okay, well, my bad. I mean, it's been 3 years. It's been over 3 years since my children were taken from me and custody given over to other family and not mine. than not being able to trust anyone because everybody around you lies to you. And there's no way it's not all connected. When you've always been the black sheep of the family, never really fit in. In fact, if I didn't look so much like my dad, I'd be convinced that my mom got with the milkman. And really, in the grand scheme of everything, she left Texas and went to California and basically found herself a military man. And here I am, and I ain't nothing like the rest of the family. I don't look like none of them. I don't sound like none of them. I hardly act like any of them. This is hard, y'all, okay? I don't know what else to do here but plead for help. I can't work. I can't replace any of my documentation because I don't have any documentation to start the process for replacing any of the rest of the documentation. I was able at one point to start recollecting pieces of my identification, but those were relieved of me. I was relieved of those as well. Couple of birth certificates. Back when my mom could actually get out and replace that for me. Those days are over. Never was able to replace my social security card because the Social Security office wanted me to mail original documents through the USPS. And any other targeted individuals, you know as well as I do, that's saying bye-bye to those things. They just disappear in the mail. Anybody else having trouble getting their mail? I don't think I've received a piece of mail in 2 years. 2 years. After an official change of address and everything, I have not received a piece of mail in 2 years. Somebody's got to be sending me a bill somewhere. I ain't been able to work in a while. I'm not expecting anybody to feel sorry for me. Ultimately, I'm the idiot who allowed myself to get roped into this. I'm the idiot who believed a liar or a bunch of liars. Either way, we're not just nameless, faceless women in the sea of fans out there. I can understand the googly-eyed, oh my gosh, I've got a celebrity messaging me and they're my favorite. I don't have a favorite. I thought I was being contacted by a man. A down-to-earth, from all intents and purposes, from every, act put on in front of the camera. Just down-home dude. Just down-home dude. So, don't beat yourselves up too much. Yes, we're still trying to put the pieces of our lives back together, but it was very real, and it happened.